'cause I was your best friend, and now I'm just losing all of my senses, and I just can't go back. Yeah, I was your best friend, and now I'm just losing all of my senses, defenses. Yeah, I can't believe I'm getting feelings. I gotta leave this, and I just can't go back. Yeah, I was your best friend, and now I'm just losing.
Hey folks, time for a new project. We have here an 82 Buick Regal, also one of my grandmother's former cars. She's in pretty decent shape. The bumper fillers on the front and back are missing, but that's okay, those are findable. The vinyl top has seen better days, as you could imagine. Anyway, got all the hubcaps, body straight, just needs a little buffing. There's some kind of issue with the engine, and hopefully we figure that out today, but she's a sharp little unit. Got, again, 3.8 liter V6, the same engine that came in the Grand National, but the Grand National had a turbo version. Anyway, a little dusty in there. Dash is in pretty good shape though. We got a little finger rubbage going on. Seats aren't terrible, a little dirty. We'll probably maybe stitch some of that shut. The old headliner is yucky, so that's coming out. But yeah, pretty solid to be honest with you.
Yeah, check the trunk out.
Oh yeah, that's right. The trunk is in fantastic shape. No rust. All that good stuff. Got probably the original spare. But yeah, no rot, man. She's just a little dirty. Oh, the seal is even nice. I hadn't noticed that. But anyway, we're gonna tear the rest of this vinyl top off and then scrub her down. And here, let's get under the hood real quick. Tear that nastiness out, but there she is.
That's an engine.
That's an engine. All right, we'll see you shortly. Okay, so we're just checking right now to see if the engine can be spun, if it's stuck. We really have no idea what's going on with this engine. We're going to try and figure it out. Oh! Oh, no, she's going. Well, she spins. Might be a moron. I assume we're in park. Alright, well, so far so good. Let's see if we can get all the way around. If that works out, then we can attach a battery and see what happens. Uh-oh. Oh, she ain't happy. Oh, there it goes. Whew. Hello folks, welcome back to Parallel Dimensions. I'm Nathan, and this is an 82 Buick Regal. It's my grandmother's car. We're calling this grandmother's whip, and we have a problem with the 6-cylinder that came in it. We did what we could to get it running. It was making horrible noises. We tried checking the oil. There's no metal pieces in it. We redid spark plugs, checked the distributor, did all the things we could possibly do. And at some point we just said screw it and yanked it. So here we are, and my cohort here thinks that it could be a screwed up crankshaft, maybe a wiped bearing, and I have my doubts, but something serious is going on. Like I said, we checked the oil and we didn't get any gritty metal chunks or anything like that. So what's happening here is anybody's guess. And we're about to crack open the oil pan, and you can learn with us as we figure out if this thing is usable or screwed. So, hang out. So what's happening? A little sludgy. I don't know if there's a little bit of metallic action in there. Anyway, wiggle some of the journals.
Ooh, this main is. Oh, that's. There it is.
Broken main.
Snapped main. That's what it was. That's gotta be what it was.
Here, let me-
Snapped main. That would make awful noises.
That would. Here, let me see if I can focus the camera. Yep. The
Found
main.
it.
What are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 in this 6-cylinder. So the third one had a broken main cap bolt. So I bet that crazy sound we were hearing was a spinning bearing. One tight. Yep. Got a flathead.
She still don't want to come. Hang on.
Boy, she don't want to come out.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Wow, the surface still looks good.
Boy, that snapped off clean though.
Wouldn't that be great if it was just one bolt that we needed to change? This might be fine. Yeah, the bearing's not spun. I bet we were just hearing that vibrate.
Yeah, it does.
There's nothing for a compression issue, but we might have solved that with the transmission fluid and acetone.
It does seem to still be in place. Let me clean this up and get back to you folks. Okay, so here's what I think needs to happen. I don't know how well you folks can see that, but that is a broken off main cap bolt in there. There's about 3/4 inch worth of threads stuck down in there. My brother wants to try and drill in there, and we're gonna try and easy out. Okay, new developments. The crank is busted. My cohort Mr. Eli was absolutely correct. That crankshaft is screwed. That broken head thing allowed that thing to flap, and it just warbled too much, and yeah, that's absolutely the reason for that gnarly sound we were hearing upon turning it over. So, if one cared, this is a 6-cylinder. These engines are around. Essentially, this engine would probably be fine with just a new crankshaft. I'd be willing to try that if we could find one. So, but yeah, this is a problem. So the old Regal, she's either going to need a new engine, or we find a crank for this little guy. I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent. I will update you and we'll bring you back. Take it easy. So we were gonna use an easy out, but the thing was pretty easy, loose, and my cohort here snapped off the drill bit, but it turns out it works out perfectly for our purposes. This is wild. So if there's any positive outcome to this, it's that the block isn't completely screwed, the crank is. So
that's what success looks like right there.
Absolutely. So block is fine, crank is screwed, so if we can get a crank, this engine is savable, but I don't think anybody really cares much about this engine. Hey guys, so looked on Marketplace, we found a Pontiac engine to replace our Buick one. This here is identical engine with different exhaust manifolds, but we're going to change those. Anyway, this came out of a Pontiac Phoenix, and we got it pretty damn cheap. The guy yanked it to put a 454 in it, and if he's correct, this thing has something like under 50,000 miles on it. So I believe we're going to throw this in because it turns over by hand. Comes with all the stuff, extra stuff, better looking carburetor, new alternator, newish alternator, and a starter. So we have what we need to get this Regal back on the road. Okay, back. So we got all the boring stuff out of the way. Didn't film it because it's boring, but got radiator flashing, screwing with as much of this as we can. We're gonna try and get it started. There are a few vacuum leaks, but this is an EGR car, and we're just gonna try and hook it up normal. So it might be weird. starting up because of a few vacuum leaks, but I'm gonna check the timing and see if we can't hear the first thing out of this new engine we put in. Okay, this is the first start of the new engine. I'm going to try and time it correctly, and Mr. Eli's gonna start it. Ready? Yeah. I'm ready, let's do it. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead and pull the, push the pedal a couple times, give it some shots of gas. Okay. And try it again. I'm gonna open the choke, continue.
Watch your eyebrows.
Yeah.
You might adjust the distributor a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and keep mashing the pedal.
Watch your eyebrows. Go again?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Oh, hold on.
An oil choke light.
Check engine and oil and choke.
Oil/choke, yeah.
Okay, so the electric choke. Okay, well, I'm gonna hold the choke open slightly. Go for it and mash the pedal to some more. Yeah, just go for it again.
Choke open?
It's closed, and I start it when it's open, and then I with it, but I have to turn the distributor to with the timing. So there's only, I'm limited. But anyway,
Close.
all right, let's do. Yeah, all right, try it again. Continue. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and double check for a spark. So go ahead and hit it. All right, yeah, we got spark. Hey guys, so I kind of screwed up. I have learned on this particular distributor, you have to unhook this to, and this is a distributor hookup, in order to time it like we're trying to do, which I had it unhooked. However, we were trying and she fell down and derailed a belt and severed this. So that's a folly of mine. However, we don't need it currently to run. This is more of a, it doesn't matter with idling is what I'm saying. But anyway, I screwed up and this thing fell in there and just snapped right off. So anyway, other than that, we're ready to try again, and I'm feeling really good. Oh, I do need to mention that the timing mark, you can see it right now, as a matter of fact. See that guy? It happened to be that far down, and we really need it to be up in here. And so that led me to believe that the distributor is a tooth off, tooth or two off. And so rather than pull the distributor at the time, because I want you guys to see it start, or hopefully we can get it started. Anyway, number one was over here, but since we're tooth off or whatever, we just clocked everything one around this way, and we managed to get the timing mark, which is down there as it's off, but it's currently flashing up there, so we're in the zone. And if this carburetor is acting correctly and the timing should be set, we should have the makings for a running Buick Regal. Hopefully this is it. All right, go for it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Here we go. Give it some. Holy shit, run. We got no coolant. Let's turn it off.
Yeah.
Lots of smoke.
Let's check.
She runs.
Let's go ahead and check the oil, and then we might as well put fluids in it. All right, folks.
I can't believe it ran.
That's insane. Oh, that's good. We got a little, maybe a little oil and things, but that's all right. We're gonna deal with that shortly.
We did spill all kinds of oil over the manifolds.
It's true. It's been a process. All right, we're filling her with fluids, and she was belching all kinds of crazy smoke. Uh-oh. Damn, I was gonna show you all the walk around as she ran.
Hang on, let me fire back up. Hang on.
We hear. Oh no. There we go. Back to it.
We don't have the distributor hooked up.
Okay, so we filled it with fluids. We're gonna try the transmission. So let's get her started.
Those brakes just sketchy, dude. Here we go, reverse.
That's good enough. Try low and everything.
Just drive.
Sweet.
Ooh, those brakes need a little adjustment. Hang on, low,
Back up, you're gonna hit the chocks. You're in reverse? We're likely still low on fluid too. Essentially, we're doing this to obviously check the.
Yeah, it's working. We're gonna need more fluid.
Yeah, we're trying to just make sure that it works, but also kind of burp the transmission at the same time. You run through all the gears, and it sucks up all the fluid. So.
Hey, let me run it for a second in gear, and then we'll check the dipstick.
Okay.
Put it in park.
Oh, are you talking about? Yeah. Hey guys, it's me again, your boy Nate. More on the Regal. So, we thought we'd tackle this today. Had to take out that window, obviously, because you don't want to melt the seals and everything. And I fabbed this up at work the other day. This is going to be our replacement panel. So, first step is to cut it out. So, that's what we'll be doing. Okay, we got a slick little hole I do think, because I just sanded this right here, I was planning on welding to this, but glass goes in there, so we don't want things to be too thick. But anyway, check this out. I have this flanged. This is a Harbor Tool flange tool, so we can have a stronger weld. Lap weld it rather than butt weld it, which is always awesome, especially on car body work. At any rate, you can see it. We just gotta mess with the fitment, a little sand and a little cutting, and she'll be good as new, baby. Look at that. That'll be nice. But you gotta remove that little flange. Whoopsie daisy. Okay, I just want to review a little bit of what we did. You saw me cutting it. Quick little note, there is more lead in here than I would have thought. I don't know how much you could see, but there is lead in between this top sheet metal and this lower sheet metal. A lot of cars did that. I thought this, and also right there, I thought perhaps this car was new enough that that wouldn't be the case, but not the case. Maybe it's even in new manufacturing. But anyway, wire wheeled all this rust because it was yucky, because there was lots of rust in what we're replacing, obviously. Hit everything with a sander, so we got good, nice metal. We're gonna plug weld this flange, so I sanded those little spots where these holes go. So again, so that we have nice new metal. And yeah, we're about ready to start tacking this sucker in place. I'm a smart guy, I can do this. Okay, your suggestion was go here and then tilt up.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
You want to hold and attack, or vice versa?
That looks cool. I'll be able to pull that out slightly. It's in a bit.
Goggles?
No, nobody needs. Okay, here, let me get your precious magnet out of the way so I don't ruin its magnetism. All right, yeah, this is probably more important. Well, I gotta line the seam up. That's more important. Well, that blasted right through. Okay, so we have a little bit of interesting development. Rather than leave you guys out of it, I'd like to show you. So, we were talking about the lead that's kind of underneath this panel blowing out and everything, and then I got over here, I don't know if you can see it, but it's either silicone bronze or brass. And that would definitely explain why the instant oxidation and like the sort of explosive blowout. So, that's interesting, so we'll have to treat that with care. Also, we've been tacking along here, and I don't know if you, it looks pretty good, but then you get to probably right about here, it starts V'ing out, like trenching out pretty bad. Here, I don't know if y'all can see that, but here, we'll try this. Trenched out pretty good, you know, V. Oh, I'm on top of stuff. You see what I'm saying? And it's quite a bit better. Sorry folks. Quite a bit better over here. So about halfway and back, it's really trenching out, and we could just spackle that up with Bondo, and we're gonna have a skim coat because of all this little pitting anyway. But we thought rather than do it that way, we'd drill a little 1/8" hole and put this sucker in there, and then employ this big boy to hold constant pressure upwards, so that as it as it cools, because it would naturally have, because the heat's coming from the top, it's just gonna make it worse with all the heat from the welder. So we figure put it roughly where we think about the middle is, yank up with the engine hoist, go ahead and weld it, and then let it dry like that. That way we have a peak rather than a valley, because we can sand a peak down. A valley we just have to fill with Bondo, so we don't want to do that. We want to see if we can line it up as best we can, because my brother and I were a little bit proud. And feel free to go down in the comments and tell us how legitimate our proudness is. But anyway, that's what we're about to do. Stay tuned. I feel like we helped our situation, but maybe not too much. It's definitely still down there. We got a little peak here because we were prying from underneath, trying to prevent this. But you can see, where is it, right there? Yeah, you can see it. Anyway, it's not fantastic. What do you guys think? Maybe that corner. Yeah, I think what happened was there was too much curve in this. I think that's probably what's messing me up. But that is my fault. I'm not mad at that. Well, folks, I'm going to keep messing with it. I'll include you on the details if anything wild comes up. Alright, so we fucked up. We may have. What's going on is we were having leaks. At first it was the transmission cooler lines, which, you know, if you've done this ever, it's kind of a common deal. But once that leak, which was those, we've already started taking this apart. Once that was clean and not leaking, it started leaking from, basically this is where the scatter shield would be, and it was coming, I thought, from in here, but we took the scatter shield off and spun it over and looked up in there, and let me grab this flashlight. We think the seal, either we set the torque converter in not correctly, or the front of the transmission seal is toast. Either way, we need to yank it back out, and instead of taking the engine and transmission with it, it's my first time just taking a transmission out, so we figured we would take this opportunity to do that. In theory it should be easy. We got either, this one bolt or, these transmission mounts, and this is the transmission cross member, and it'll have to come out. But yeah, so we're taking that sucker back out. Not the engine, but the transmission, but wish us luck. Okay, so the valve body, no, that's the top. This is pump body. The pump body needs to come out because we have to change this seal. Now then, all the bolts that go in there, 2 of the holes are threaded bigger than the bolts that go in there, so that you can get a slide hammer on there and yank it out. We didn't have a slide hammer here, but we made it work. So anyway, let's pull this sucker off. Isn't that cool? Anyway, so we did notice inside there, you can see there are shards of metal, A, and B, there are little square, basically set pins that the torque converter sets against to be in there, and there are little pieces of metal in there that would block it from seating correctly. So that likely is our problem. We need to figure out where those little shards come from and replace this gasket. Well, we got the old seal out, and we have a new seal, and we're going to go ahead and try and install it. I set this seal in the freezer and heated up the base a little bit, hopefully making installation a little easier. And let's see if we can get the new one in. And there she is. Not too bad. Got all the little bits of stuff out of there. Hopefully this is all we need to reseat that torque converter properly. And yeah, we pulled the transmission just for that. That was, I mean, it wasn't great, but here we are. So now we get to put this back in the transmission. Oops. Make sure that's nice and flat. There we go. So okay, folks, it's a couple weeks later on the grandma's whip, the 82 Buick Regal. As you can see, we got our part welded in and spackled down and sanded, and the same thing goes for our quarter panel patch here. We tested out some paint a little bit, but at any rate, so we're pretty close to being able to lay down some paint. Now the paint we're laying down takes clear coat, and since that's the case, I wanted to polish any current paint as best I can, because there's going to be clear overspray, and so therefore I want the paint looking as good as it possibly can before we get to painting the rest of it. As you can see, there's quite a bit of oxidation in this old paint, and in order to take care of that, yesterday we started on that fender in this trunk, and she's pretty shiny comparatively speaking. But yeah, we did this and that, and I want to show you a little bit how we did it. Basically, all I did was wet sand with 1500 grit, which feels like paper if I'm being honest. Anywho, then we get the old polisher and go over it with just this stuff right here. And so stay tuned, we will show you. Okay, so we're gonna try and cut the roof a little bit more. It seems a little dull, but we got kind of crackly paint. I don't know, we're just gonna shine it as best we can. But you can see this much better, and also it's much worse. We got a bit of a rust here, I'm in the way. Bit of a rust issue that, you know, around the edges like you do over here as well. Anyway, for that area, I've been using the 1000 grit flat block. Love the flat blocks, folks. I'm gonna use 600 grit wet sanding to take care of the rust, and then I'll be flat blocking it, just explaining to you guys so you know what's happening. Okay, just to give you guys an idea what we're doing here, yeah, we're basically making all the flaws more evident, but you can see how much more shiny that is. Here, let me pull that out. So, here's what we had. Well, that's what it is now. So, I'm just saying, you guys can do this at home yourselves. Just wet sand it with really fine grit, and I mean, you can even see the little sparklies. I mean, it's helping this car out, but just saying, you guys could do this to your vehicles if she needed to be a little more shiny. Well, folks, another week or two later, screwing with the 82 Regal. What we've been doing, we gutted the interior, cleaned everything. Couldn't do much about that. Fixed some stuff back there, new headliner, basically steam clean everything, carpet, all the good stuff. Doing what we can to make her pretty again. Also, we've been doing bumper fillers. I don't know if you remember in the past videos, none of this was here. We did this yesterday, and it was kind of a pain because these bumper fillers, when you buy them, they're not OEM, they're aftermarket. These particular ones are probably vacuum formed plastic. At any rate, there's a few bolt holes that they need to go into that were off, so we had to mark and screw them in. And then there was a lot of problem with matching it up to the grill, and mostly because it probably covers several years. And these, how's this going there? That probably goes over here. These were attached to this little guy right here, went like that, and it impeded the bumper, so we just took these little guys off and everything looks good. At any rate, just be aware if you're doing bumper fillers, you're gonna have to screw with them. It's not as simple as just putting them on. Same thing goes for back here. We're just getting to this today. That one actually kind of lines up legitimately, but you got to remove the rear tail lights in order to get to the bolts that hold this whole thing on. Also, I forgot to put these reinforcement strips in there, but I'll go back and put them in. But rears are a lot easier than the fronts were, and I'm just tidying that up now. I'll fill you in once it's done. Howdy. We are back on, obviously, the Regal. Last you saw, we had completed the front bumper fillers, and we finally got around to finishing up the rear ones. They fit in pretty good, but the overlap was weird, so I made this stainless, what would you call it? Just to cover the seam in between the two bumper fillers. Cleans it up quite a bit, and then we put the new bumper that we bought for it back on. Really shines her up, classes her up a bit. As you can tell, I still have some buffing to do. There's a little clear coat overspray that I've yet to buff out. Did buff up the panels. All this white stuff is just excess polish. But anyway, put the old badges back on. She's looking sharp. And we are ready to get her out of my brother's backyard and get it on the road for the first time in 23 years. So, hey guys, thanks for joining us. That concludes our video on the 82 Regal. She looks nice. I am quite pleased with this. If you enjoyed watching this, please rate, review, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, all those things. Help us out. It's our first video on the channel. I hope you guys will come back and join us for more adventures. One of the things I got coming up is this 59 Impala. Stick around for that. There's lots to do. Thank you guys. Stay tuned.